They say speed kills, but speed saved lives in the skies over Europe and the Pacific during World War II. It ended dogfights before they began. It meant the difference between landing safely and never coming home. And in this war, the fastest fighters weren't just aircraft. They were the cutting edge of fear, engineering, and survival. Today, we rank the 10 fastest fighter planes of World War II. You'll see familiar names, you'll meet forgotten monsters, and just when you think the jets have it, something else punches through the cloud. Let's get into it. Number 10. Yakovlev Yak-3. Top speed, 407 miles per hour. Country, Soviet Union. We start with a plane that wasn't built to impress on paper, but it terrified enemy pilots in real combat. The Yak-3 was light, ridiculously light. Soviet engineers stripped it down to essentials, then shaved off even more. No armor, no frills. It was just pure aggression in the air. What did that give them? A Sembert, a knife fighter. It climbed fast, turned tighter than anything the Germans had, and in a one-on-one fight under 15,000 feet, it could outmaneuver nearly every plane in the Luftwaffe. No wonder veteran German pilots warned newcomers, if you see a Yak below you, don't engage. But again, that wasn't a warning, it was, in fact, a confession. Number 9. Grumman F-8F Bearcat. Top speed, 421 miles per hour. Country, United States. If World War II had lasted just 6 more months, this plane would have been everywhere. The Bearcat was Grumman's last piston-engine fighter, and it was a beast. Fast, sleek, light. This plane could outclimb a P-51 Mustang and outturn most Japanese fighters. Designed with the lessons of every Pacific battle baked in, the Bearcat was built to dominate. It was one of the few propeller planes ever able to take off and reach 10,000 feet faster than a jet on afterburners. But by the time it was ready, the atomic bombs had already fallen. The war was over. And the Bearcat, though impressive, missed its war. Number 8. Hawker Tempest Mark V. Top speed, 432 miles per hour. Country, United Kingdom. The Tempest was a monster that most people outside aviation circles had never heard of. It was designed to fix everything the older Typhoon had gotten wrong. New wings, new tail, better handling, and power, lots of it. Pilots who flew it said it had torque like a bulldozer and could accelerate like a sports car. Its main mission? Intercept and destroy V-1 flying bombs. It did that and more. It also outperformed the Me-109 and FW-190 in low-altitude combat. One German ace reportedly said, "If you see a Tempest, run, or you won't make it home." Enough said, he meant it. Number 7. North American P-51D Mustang. Top speed, 437 miles per hour. Country, United States. You knew this one was coming. It's arguably the most iconic fighter of the war. The P-51D wasn't just fast, it was efficient. With long-range drop tanks, it could escort bombers deep into enemy territory and then fight its way out. This aircraft had speed, maneuverability, and style. But here's the kicker, this wasn't even the fastest Mustang. Still, it gets the credit for changing the air war over Europe. Once the P-51D appeared in force, the Luftwaffe started losing control of its skies. Bombers stopped flying unprotected, and German fighters started dying 2 at a time. But if you want raw speed, keep watching. Wait until we reach number 1, and you'll marvel at how quick that fighter was. Number 6. Messerschmitt Bf-109K4. Top speed 445 miles per hour. Country, Nazi Germany. Now, we're entering serious territory. The Bf-109 had been around since the start of the war, but the K4 was its final, most powerful version. New engine, retractable tailwheel, pressurized cockpit, and one job: to push Allied bombers and fighters out of German skies. This fighter could climb like a rocket and had blistering speed in level flight. But it came too late. By 1944, Germany's factories were crumbling, and even the best machines couldn't make up for the overwhelming numbers of Allied aircraft flooding into Europe. Still, your stomach dropped if you were an Allied pilot and saw a 109 diving out of the sun, because if it were a K4, you knew you were in for a fight.
Number 5. Supermarine Spitfire Mark 14. Top speed 448 miles per hour. Country, United Kingdom. The original Spitfire is a legend, but the Mark 14, that was the legend's big brother, but with a bad temper. This version swapped out the older Merlin engine for the brutal Rolls-Royce Griffon. The result? A growl, a longer nose, and a climb rate that left German pilots scrambling. Unlike earlier Spits that danced through the skies, the Mark 14 powered through. It was used to counter Germany's V-1 flying bombs, and pilots said they could catch up to those deadly missiles, tip their wings, and send them crashing before they reached London. The Mark 14 was the point where grace met power, and it had the speed to back it up. It was hard to ask for more than 448 miles per hour then.
Number 4. Republic P-47M Thunderbolt. Top speed 470 miles per hour. Country, United States. It was massive. It was heavy, and they called it the Jug. We are discussing one of America's fiercest fighters, the P-47M Thunderbolt. Most people don't think of the P-47 as fast, but the M variant changed that perception forever. This version had a souped-up engine to chase down Germany's new jets and buzz bombs. It had raw muscle. The P-47M was one of the fastest diving fighters of the entire war. Pilots said it could drop like a safe, but somehow survived the landing. And when it fired, its 8 50 caliber machine guns could chew a bomber in half.
Number 3. Dornier Do 335 file Arrow. Top speed 474 to 487 miles per hour. Country, Nazi Germany. Now, this is where the story gets weird. Most people don't expect a piston-powered fighter in the top 3, but there was the Dornier Do 335 file. Undeniably, the Nazi Germany's pride and fantasy. This fighter had 2 engines, one pulling, one pushing. On the ground, it looked awkward. In the air, it was terrifying. It was faster than most jets, it climbed like a rocket, and Allied pilots couldn't believe their eyes when they first saw it. Reports say it could hit 500 miles per hour in a shallow dive, and because it didn't have the drag of wing-mounted engines like traditional twins, it kept its aerodynamic edge. But only a few dozen were ever made. They came too late to affect the war, but they left a whisper of what Germany's skies could have looked like if the war had gone another year. A whisper that still echoes in aviation history. Number 2. North American P-51H Mustang. Top speed 487 miles an hour. Country, United States. This was the final Mustang, the purest version, and it was everything the D model wished it could be. Lighter frame, more horsepower, sharper performance. It had all the DNA of the Mustang line, but was stripped for speed and built for one purpose: to finish the war in the Pacific faster. It could fly faster, climb quicker, and turn tighter than any Mustang before it. But like so many late-war marvels, the P-51H arrived too late. The war ended before it saw real combat, but in the air, it was unmatched among piston-powered planes. Or was it? Let's see what number 1 has to say. Number 1. Messerschmitt Me-262. Top speed 540 miles per hour. Country, Nazi Germany. Yes, a jet. The world's first operational jet fighter, the Me-262 wasn't just faster than every other plane in the war, it entirely belonged to a different era. It could climb faster, outrun everything, and tear through bomber formations before escorts could respond. Allied pilots said it looked like a silver ghost, appearing out of nowhere, shredding planes, and vanishing again before anyone could react. But for all its strengths, the 262 had flaws. It needed long runways. It was vulnerable on takeoff and landing, and it was fragile, especially when rushed through production in bombed-out German factories. Still, No plane caused more panic in the skies than the 262, and at 540 miles per hour, who would have dared to question this German beast?
There you have it. 10 aircraft that pushed the boundaries of technology, performance, and war. Some flew in countless missions, others barely left the runway. But each one proved that in the skies of World War II, speed was everything. Speed bought time. Speed meant survival. Speed often meant victory. Which aircraft surprised you the most? Which one do you think could have changed history if given more time? Let us know in the comments, and subscribe to the channel if you're hungry for more stories like this, where engineering, bravery, and raw speed collide.